have it. I call on Government Order of the Day number 3.
Geographical Indications Wine and Spirits Registration Amendment Bill, third reading.
The Honourable Paul Goldsmith.
Speaker, I move that the Geographical Indications Wines and Spirits Amendment Bill be read a third time. Mr. Speaker, this bill amends the Geographical Indications Wine and Spirits Registration Act of 2006, which was never brought into force. The amendments are necessary to clarify some provisions in the Act and to ensure that the registration process provided for in the Act runs smoothly and sustainably. Once the bill is enacted, it will be possible to bring into force once the regulations setting out the registration procedures have been finalised. New Zealand wine and spirit producers will then be able to register their geographical indications in New Zealand, such as Marlborough, the area that arguably produces the best Sauvignon Blancs in the world. And at this point, Mr. Speaker, I do want to acknowledge the effect of the recent earthquakes on particularly the Marlborough regions and parts of North Canterbury as well, where the wine industry, like every other industry, has been knocked about badly. And so our thoughts and prayers are with them. There's been quite a bit of loss of bottled wine and wine in tanks and tanks. And so the industry will be battling over the next few months, but we wish them all the very best. Mr. Speaker, this bill will make it easier for local producers to register their geographical indications in other countries, because most other countries with registration systems for geographical indications will not register foreign indications unless they're registered in their country of origin. Mr. Speaker, the registration of New Zealand's geographical indications in other countries will be of particular assistance to our wine industry. It'll help with maintaining the reputation of New Zealand wines as a premium wine in overseas markets, commanding a higher price than wine in other countries, as we do. It's worth talking, Mr. Speaker, a little bit about the industry. Many of us here in this House are eager consumers of the product. And it's worth just reflecting back on an industry that was really kicked off by the Mission Vineyard actually in 1865 in Hawke's Bay by the French Roman Catholics. We had the many pioneers from Dalmatian extraction out in West Auckland who really got things going. Montana kicking off the Sauvignon Blanc in the Marlborough region in the 1970s. Followed by a massive, very substantial investment, both domestic and international, in the last few decades. And so we have an industry which is dominated by both large and small producers, and has been phenomenally successful over the last few decades. It was only $18 million of exports that the whole industry produced in 1990. I think it was around 1998 when the industry cracked the $100 million in exports, and today that figure is around $1.6 billion and rising fast. And the United States is the largest foreign market, about 460 million. Britain is second. They have a particular taste for our wines, it seems, with 380 million, and the Australians are third with 360 million. And so it's a story, Mr. Speaker, of hard work and enterprise by many New Zealanders, and we celebrate that industry. We want to support it, and the spirits. We drink the spirits from time to time, all in good cheer. So this bill is essentially about trying to strengthen some of the foundations that we have around the story that lies behind the quality of New Zealand wines. I will just briefly mention some significant amendments made by the bill, providing for the payment of renewal fees to maintain the registration of geographical indication, provides an ongoing source of income to maintain the register, particularly important given that most applications to register geographical indications will be made in the first few years after the Act enters into force. and the income from renewal fees will assist in keeping initial application fees lower than they would otherwise be. Another significant amendment is to incorporate opposition procedures into the Act, which will allow interested persons to oppose the registration of a geographical indication and the alteration or removal of such an indication. I do want to just finally mention to acknowledge the work of key stakeholders. Also present in the gallery this evening, we have Mr. Robert Brewer from New Zealand Spirits, and also there's been a great deal of work by New Zealand Wine as an industry, led by Nicola Crennan. Mr. Speaker, I'm very pleased to commend this bill to the House, and I want to acknowledge what is an important occasion for the New Zealand wine and spirits industries. Thank you very much.
The question is that the motion be agreed to, but